Ho, ho, ho! From soulful carols to high-energy dance numbers, laughter, and a touch of holiday magic, the stages at Kings Island truly come alive during WinterFest. On this episode of Tower Topics, we're diving into the shows that make the season shine. Join us as we unwrap the entertainment side of WinterFest, where every song, every smile, and every performance helps bring the magic of the season to life.
Hey, he's Ryan, I'm Don, and welcome to another episode of Tower Topics.
Tower Topics is available anywhere you get your podcasts and on YouTube, so hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with all things Kings Island.
So, Ryan, WinterFest, about to open, not just about the atmosphere, the food, the rides. A big component of it is the live entertainment.
I would say that it's live entertainment's opportunity to shine, and boy, do they shine in so many ways. I've been looking forward for the past week to doing this episode because there's a lot of returning favorites to WinterFest this year, and there was a change to one of the shows, which we accurately reported several months ago. And let's kick it off.
All right. There's so much happening this year with the live entertainment. We start with the new show, Tinker's Jingle Bell Ball. It's a brand new holiday spectacular. It's full of energy, music, dancing, and even a visit from Santa himself. It's definitely one you're going to want to catch.
Yeah. Now, this is the show we had reported about 6 months ago. Maybe not quite that Tinker's Toy Factory, as you know, it would not be returning. We speculated several different scenarios as to what could be going in there. And one of the ideas was maybe they'll make another Tinker's. So this will be the third edition. And the first one is one of the best theme park shows to ever happen. And then they came up with the second one, and I was like, there's just no way. And I was like, that's just about as good. So really looking forward to this. We don't have a whole lot of information. We know that, Tinker and his clan are preparing for a ball. So, I mean, have you heard anything about the show, Don?
Not too much, Ryan, other than just that it's, got some similar characters in it, with Tinker and that. But it's a different show than what they've had in there before. And that'll be something that I'm looking forward to seeing.
Yeah. Now the description that's online, this made me chuckle a little bit to my morbid brain, but Tinker's Jingle Bell Ball. All of Santa's elves are frantically preparing for the big night, but Tinker has great concerns over the toys being produced at the toy factory. So I wonder what his concerns are. Is it child labor? Is it lead poisoning? Like I don't know. I don't know what direction they're going to go with it, but that'll be a fun show. I'm sure it'll be a home run regardless.
It definitely will. Now if you're looking for something a little more mellow, check out Holly Holiday String Along. It's all about those soothing sounds of the season, perfect for taking a break and just soaking in the atmosphere.
Yeah, Jess from Hi-Fi Honey often plays the role of Holly Holiday, and does she have a following.
Great following, yeah. And like I said, she does, all those Christmas classics and that, perfect place to just, bring the family, take a break and just enjoy, watching her perform. She does a fantastic job.
Yeah. And then next up,
over in Action Zone, we've got the Ice Carvers. They're back. There was some speculation on whether they would or wouldn't, but they're back. They're always a crowd favorite. It's amazing to watch them, turn a solid block of ice into something incredible, right before your eyes. Highly recommend checking out one of the shows for the Ice Carvers, and then come back. If you go to like the first or second one, and then come back at the end of the night, you can see from the other, like normally there was like 4 shows, just the different sculptures that they did. It's something different that they create in every show, and it's something that I think you have to experience when you're at WinterFest.
Yeah, I think any of these ice sculptures, like if a corporate event bought one, it would cost a fortune. It would be $500-$600 or more, but this guy will make like 15 of them in a night.
Yeah, and then you've got you couldn't have WinterFest right without the Peanuts gang. Their show, it's titled this year it's Christmas Charlie Brown. It brings that classic holiday charm we all grew up with. It's heartwarming, it's nostalgic, all in the right ways. And again, I don't know if it's a totally different show or they just rebranded it with the name as they've done before. But it's always something that for me, it's can't miss at WinterFest, because when you think of Christmas, you always think about the Peanuts gang.
What a win for them, for the Peanuts to have such a big presence for both Christmas and Halloween, and to be able to kind of like sit on those laurels for these events. I actually feel like they underutilize Peanuts for Christmas, because Peanuts are very synonymous with Christmas because of that Christmas special.
They are, but yeah, definitely check this show out. And it's got some great visuals. If you're someone that likes to take, photos of the shows not at Kings Island, this is one of the fun ones to do.
Sure is. Next up,
okay, we move over to Rivertown. You'll find Jingle Jazz performers there. It's a group of Dickensian carolers with a jazzy twist. They bring a lot of personality to the shows. They really get you into the holiday mood. So that's something that, if you're just going through the midways, you're in Rivertown near the Roses Pizza there, be sure to check out this show, Jingle Jazz.
I've never heard the term Dickensian before. I always thought it more like
I made it up.
Dress like, okay. I was going to say, I know that the dress from that period is.
I do think it's a word, though. I do think it's a word because, I don't know. Try to put it in something and see if it says like spelling error or something. That's a way to see if it's really a word. But I think I heard that somewhere before, so I just thought I would throw that in there.
Let's ask our sponsors, not really our sponsors, over at AI.
What do they say? Is that a word? Your friends at AI.
Right.
I'm old school. I'm not too far removed from using a typewriter.
Yeah, last time I saw you, you were working with an abacus.
Well, what's it say?
I'm asking. I asked Google Gemini, is Dickensian a word, or did Don Helbig just make it up? And it's a Dickensian is definitely a real word. It's an adjective derived from the name of the famous 19th century English author Charles Dickens. It's used to describe something that is reminiscent of Dickens or his writings, particularly.
Okay. Well, I thought I'd heard the word summer before, and as we're just talking here, I just threw that out there, and I thought, we'll see how that sounds. All right, Ryan, you've seen this group. What are your thoughts?
I think it's a good compliment. I mean, this is a pretty terrible venue, but you and I were speculating before we recorded that this would maybe move to that new venue that's over by the carousel. I think this would be very appropriate for that, this and or Mistletoones. But I think that they've got such a good talent pool at Kings Island as far as singing is concerned that if you enjoy Christmas carols, and there are a lot of you guys out there, then certainly this is the show for you.
All right, moving on. We've got Songs of the Nativity. This is one of the most popular shows at WinterFest. It focuses on the true reason for the season. It features the traditional Christmas songs, a manger scene, even live animals. It's beautiful. It's a peaceful moment among all the lights and activity at WinterFest. So you got to be sure to check this show out when you're there. Again, Songs of the Nativity.
Yeah, it didn't have live animals last year or 2 years ago. I don't remember last year, because remember they were constructing Camp Snoopy, so they moved it.
Right.
So I don't know if it'll have live animals, which that would be a shame if they didn't, because that seems to be pretty popular. But yeah, the show is it's all Christian based Christmas carols and super popular, and it's just fantastic. It really is, and it goes continuously. I believe they do take breaks, but it more or less kind of goes all night, which is really nice.
All right. And if you want to get warm, you step inside the Fest House, and there you can swing back in time with Swinging into Christmas. It's a 1940 style big band show that's full of energy, nostalgia, and classic holiday fare.
Yeah, I always love, they get the live band, and I love how at the top, and you can kind of see in this photo, they have the little like podiums for each. It makes me think of like the Ricky Ricardo band from I Love Lucy.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So I
now you put that. I mean, I'm going to think that now, Ryan, when I'm watching the show, I'm going to think the I Love Lucy show. Thanks for putting that into my head. But you're right.
I'm sure that there was an I Love Lucy Christmas episode that you can reminisce about. But the show is terribly underrated. I think that when Tinkers moved out of the Fest House and into the Kings Island Theater, you and I and everybody else made such a big deal about that this kind of got lost in the shuffle. But what a great show! Great music, great talent. It's a true staple.
And you don't want to miss the Mistletoones. You referenced them earlier. They're over on the Tinseltown stage, which is in the Coney Mall area. It's right where, if you're familiar with it during Haunt, it's the Kilmart building or next to the Kings Mills Antique Auto. So I think it's one of the better looking stages that they have for WinterFest. But it's a trio of star-struck songstresses who perform those 1950s style holiday hits. Just so much charm and sparkle with the show.
I love the set. They didn't have a set originally. They switched off with that corner of La Roses with Jingle Jazz. But I think the set is so cool to be built on top of a cup pong game kind of thing.
Yeah, it works. I mean, it fits right there. You and I talked about this, if it would possibly, would move over by the carousel with that thing, that tent area that they built there. But no, I think it would be a mistake to move it. It works perfectly where it is.
Yeah. You don't want to share venues. My theory with that is that people that saw Jingle Jazz may walk by and see this and think it's just Jingle Jazz again. So it'll feel like there's less to do at WinterFest if they do that. But definitely overplays its hand very well. On top of a game, it draws huge crowds. It's 1950s and 60s music, but love it.
Yeah, it does always have a crowd around it. But, finally, you can wrap up your night at the bandstand on International Street or start your night there, really, with the Ulltide Follies. It's a big, joyful musical review that celebrates Christmas through song, dance, and plenty of festive fun. Yeah.
This show has been a reworked show 3 or 4 times in WinterFest, and it's gotten better each year, I feel like. It's got costume changes. Just really, really cool show. I really enjoy it. It's not that long. A lot of the outdoor shows are only about 15 minutes long, maybe a little bit longer, right, which is great because it gets cold standing there. But yeah, this is one of those where great environment. That bandstand, I always say this about like Haunt and stuff, but the bandstand is the worst venue on earth until the sun goes down. Then it's one of the best venues. And, WinterFest is all about this night show. So I think that's really something kind of special.
All right. Now we have a couple of other things. We have the tree lighting ceremony to kick off WinterFest. I think that takes place at 5:30 p.m. each night of WinterFest. Yeah. Okay. What are your thoughts on the way they start the event that way?
So I remember when in 2005, which is my only other taste of WinterFest, they had a family light the tree. And they shot that firework up, which would go up and it would hit the thing. And I still think that they need to have pyro for it. But I will say that you watch that, it's about 10 minutes long and you feel like you've seen a whole show. I think that it really encapsulates the spirit of the thing. And like the tree lighting is something I try not to miss every time I go.
I just wish it was a little darker, at that time of the night, because it's still a little light. The lights go on, you see it and everything like that, but it's usually about 15, 20 minutes later when it's, dark enough that it really pops. So I don't know, maybe if they moved it back to 6 o'clock and just had kind of a big celebration or something like that, it would be a little better visually. You look at the different photos and videos that are out there that guests have posted over the years of the tree lighting, and it's just a little bit too light in the background for me when they turn the camera and look up at the tower.
Yeah, I mean, it's dark enough, as in the minimum amount of darkness you need for something like that. The problem, though, is that is a big production. It may change this year. We don't know yet. But classically, they've had the performers from most of the shows in it. That's why it's so early, because they need to scurry off. And
get off to their own shows, right? And then to wrap up the entertainment segment of this episode, one of my favorite things, if not my favorite thing at WinterFest, is the WinterFest Wonderland Parade.
Oh my God. Such a good job with it. I worried about this because the Carnival Parade was always so good and such a fan favorite that I was concerned with this, but they throw out candy canes. They have all the different shows pretty much represented. They've got a bunch of people skiing or whatever, it's just such a magical thing. It's so resource intensive. So I'm so grateful that they do this, especially that it's every single night too.
Yeah. So I thought I saw 8:30 p.m. is the parade time. To me, Ryan, this is Disney caliber, the parade. I mean, it just looks spectacular, no matter where you see it in the park. I mean, it's a spectacle. Can't miss. I know some people, they're off riding rides or watching shows, but you got to make time to see the WinterFest Wonderland Parade, and you've seen it a lot over the years. Where do you think is the best place to watch it?
As with all parades, International Street. There, especially, and you guys have probably seen footage I've used for the bumper several times where I've filmed the parade going by and there's ice skaters in the background and stuff, and it's just such a magical setting. I just love it.
Yeah, I agree with you. The setting is really good on International Street. One of the places I found, both for Grand Carnival and Winterfest, was right there by the Grand Carousel ID sign. And you want to be on the Eiffel Tower side. They've got the little seat wall. You can sit down and nobody can get in front of you because there's only like about 3 inches before you see the parade route line. So I found that to be a really good spot too. You get the carousel, how that's all decked out for the holidays in the background. So that would be another spot. But I think, if I could only pick one spot to watch it, it would be on International Street.
It's gotta be.
Yeah, so I think, Ryan, no matter where you go in the park during Winterfest, there's something to see, something to hear. The live entertainment lineup, just one of the best parts of Winterfest, if it's not the best part.
Absolutely. So we want to hear from you, the listeners. What's your favorite Winterfest show? And why? We'd love to hear it.
All right, Ryan. It's the holiday season. People are shopping. There's a lot of Kings Island fans out there. We've got a lot of Tower Topics fans. So if someone has a Tower Topics fan on their list, there's a place they can go to buy some items.
Yeah. Check your list twice, just like Santa Claus. And you can go to store.towertopics.com. That's store.towertopics.com. You can get Tower Topics hats like this. You can get I Hate Tower Topics merchandise. We got a bunch of different logos, all sorts of products. Hats, t-shirts, coffee mugs, stickers, magnets have sold really well. Store.towertopics.com for all your Tower Topics merchandise needs. All right. We'll be right back with the listener questions.
And now it's time for the Tower Topics listener questions.
First listener question. Eli from Batavia, he said, what do you guys think the Kings Island Theater's will be in the theater next summer? Will it be the Bubble Show, something else, or nothing at all?
I know the Bubble Show was very popular the past couple of years. It's worked well for the park. It's developed a following. So I would not be surprised to see that come back. If not that, I think there's an illusionist out there. His name is Brad Ross. I know they tried to bring him in a couple of different times and it just didn't work out for timing. He was going to be in the theater in 2020. That was going to be one of the big things that we were going to really promote that year before COVID came in. So I think he's always on the table with something that the park, the company, he's had a long-term relationship with, the Legacy Cedar Fair Parks, did a lot of things out at Carowinds, some other parks. So I would think it's going to be one of those two things if I had to place a bet on it.
Do you think there's a non-zero chance that Phantom Theater Encore could come back, or do you think it's too soon?
Well, I mean, it's already set up. They've got the show is written. They've got the costumes, everything else for it. So that would not surprise me either. I'd love to see that. Of the three options, if that was one of them, I would vote for that. But I wouldn't want to get my hopes up for that. So I'm leaning more toward the Bubble Show or Brad Ross.
Do you think that it'll be a longer run this year, though? Because
No.
It was like two. So
if it's one of those shows, no.
Yeah, if it's Phantom Theater, I bet it will be.
If it's Phantom Theater, it's your own people. A little bit less cost, to do them. If you're going to have it season long, it's Phantom Theater Encore, I think you'd see that from like the first week of June until daily operation ends in August. The other ones, I think you would see a 4 to 5 week, kind of a run.
I mean, I just feel like the synergy is there,
Oh, it'd make perfect sense. I mean, why not? Why wouldn't you do that with Phantom Theater? And you could have those characters. I mean, how cool would that be too, to have the characters, after the shows and that, they come out and they get the pictures and all that kind of stuff, meet and greet. And I think it would help tell a little bit of a story about, you could revise it a little bit, to kind of tell the story about the, Phantom Theater, being closed down and then now it's back open.
Yeah. And then you're right, have the maestro go out and meet and greet people and stuff. I think that would be fantastic. Lots of merchandise opportunities and stuff. And even with the show itself, it had the following. I know that, the parents pretty proudly post pictures of the kid that dresses up as No Legs Larry pretty regularly.
Oh my gosh. Yes. That's I mean, that show really, really captured the imagination of the park guest. I mean, they absolutely loved it.
Yeah. So I think that the synergy's there. It's a matter of, can they, I don't know. I even think the Bubble Show lovers and stuff. And like, I agree that show went over very well, but I don't even think they would disagree. Like, okay, they're bringing back Phantom Theater. Let's, that show makes perfect sense.
It does. So that would be something to hope for. But don't get your hopes up. I mean, but it'd be a great thing if they were to do that. And, if they do bring it back, I'm pretty sure Tower Topics will be where you hear it first.
Yeah, because we have connections with the actual maestro itself, not the actor, the real guy. All right. Becky from Wheeling, West Virginia. That's a good hockey town.
It is. Wheeling Nailers.
Yeah. I'm planning on my first time visit to WinterFest. What happens if it rains or snows? Thanks.
Well, I mean, it is the winter time, so there is a good possibility that you might experience one of those or the other, but the event pretty much does, go on for the most part, unless it's raining really hard. The weather would impact the rides. If it was raining or, if there was a lot of snow, you might see some of those that, would have to close because of the inclement weather. So you'd have to prepare for that. But in terms of, the shows, there's the indoor shows in the Fest House. You got the Kings Island Theater show. Some of the other ones are undercover where the performers are performing. You would be out in the elements, but the performers would be covered. So it'd still be worth, if you're planning that visit and you see as it approaches that it is going to, a chance of rain, chance of snow. I mean, still come on out. And if you happen to catch WinterFest at a time when it is snowing, I mean, it's just beautiful.
It is. It's kind of funny because they do the tree lighting, rain or shine, and they actually have a protocol where they all carry umbrellas during the show. So it's kind of like Disney when they do the rain parade.
Yeah.
How it's like Mickey and all the characters dressed up in raincoats, which is kind of fun. Now, I will say this: there's a huge case to be made where when it rains at Kings Island, it's one of the better days to go because the rain doesn't last forever and no one goes, and you can often get those short lines. If it's going to rain a lot, it might put a damper on your experience at WinterFest. The snow thing, it's like, based on driving safety and stuff like that. I think if it's going to rain all night, God, in today's world, they'll just close it anyway. But I would look at the weather for rain. For snow, though, if it's going to be like a light dusting or something, that might be something really cool for photos.
That'd be really good for photos. But the thing, too, like if you're planning the ice skate, the rain's going to impact that. Snow can impact that, if it's coming down too heavy with that. But, again, you do have shows that are indoors. You have a lot of, the dining options that are indoors and that, you can still walk around a little bit and see all the lights and stuff. You can ride the carousel. So it's still not you don't want to not go if that's your only time that you can go.
Oh, yeah. Don't forego an entire visit. Because of that. That's not what I'm suggesting. Now, I do know that when it got really cold out, they would do things like they had like the Mistletoones perform before Tinkers. Like, so if you went into Tinker's Toy Factory, it wasn't them. I'm sorry. It was the Holly Jolly Trolley.
Yes.
Those people would do kind of an impromptu show, which is kind of cool. So you might see something kind of different and unique too. But I'm just saying, like the rain will impact your visit more than it will during the summer.
Yeah, you mentioned Wheeling was a hockey town,
Mhm.
and little connection to Cincinnati there. The team, the Wheeling Nailers, they actually started out as the Cincinnati Firebirds, and they were going to play at Cincinnati Gardens in 1981.
Really?
But a couple of weeks after they announced and they were, taking ticket deposits, the Toronto Maple Leafs put their top farm club in the Central Hockey League at Riverfront Coliseum, the Cincinnati Tigers, who I worked for, and the guy that ran the team or that owned the team, the Cincinnati Firebirds, he didn't want to go head to head with the Central Hockey League because it was a lower level of hockey. So he moved the team to Winston-Salem, where they became the Winston-Salem Thunderbirds. And then after playing there for several years, he sold the team to a former Cincinnati Stinger and Cincinnati Sword named Rick Dudley, who ended up selling the team to someone else. But eventually it ends up in Wheeling and becomes the Wheeling Nailers. So there's a Cincinnati tie there with that hockey team in Wheeling.
It's funny, you can trace the lineage of minor league hockey teams, kind of like how you can trace the lineage of the royal family in Britain, all the way back to like Henry the Conqueror. Yeah. There's whole YouTube videos dedicated to that, and I bet you could click through Wikipedia or something and find that with anything. But Steve from Columbus, Ohio said, with Tony Clark now overseeing PR Kings Island, does that mean we'll see him starring in a KI holiday video like we've seen him cast himself in for the Cedar Point holiday video over the years?
That's an interesting question. I don't know. He'd have to come down. I mean, I'm sure he'll be down for WinterFest. I would imagine we would probably see him the first weekend there. I'm sure there'd be media, wanting to do some morning live shots either the day before or day of. So I would imagine he would be there, and that would give him the opportunity to put something together at that time while he's there. But based in Sandusky, if it's not done, you've only got a certain amount of time to get that done when he's there. I don't know that it would be to the extent that you saw the Cedar Point holiday videos, which were always very well done. So I don't know, but I would imagine there'll be some kind of a video coming from Kings Island, and it'll have Tony's touch, with it. And again, it's if it's as good as the Cedar Point videos, Kings Island fans will love watching it.
Yeah, there's a certain amount of brilliance to the video thing that they did. I mean, they make several mentions of Tony putting himself in the videos, which is true, except for there was one where there's a lot of people and he was never in it. But regardless of that, they would come out about a week before Christmas, which was a great opportunity to get Cedar Point in front of people at a time when it's absolutely not in front of people. The reality is, if they were going to do it for Kings Island and they wanted to have the same impact, it would probably be closer to Thanksgiving, because you want to promote Kings Island as being synonymous with Christmas, not before it's too late.
Right.
So,
right. But I think, like I said, I feel that, being the PR person, and when is the media going to want to come out and talk about WinterFest, without being pitched to and everything, it's, on their own, it's going to be that opening weekend. So I would imagine he might be around for that. And if he is, then maybe they put something together. Maybe it's not on his mind. He's got a lot on his plate with multiple parks and that. So maybe it's not even on his mind to do. I don't know. But if I would love to see that quality of a holiday video being done for Kings Island that Cedar Point has done over the years.
Yeah, we can only hope. If you've got your own questions, you can send them to us via email, hosts@towertopics.com. That's HOSTS@towertopics.com. If you want to send us a text or a voicemail, 513-399-7538. That's 513-399-7538. If you send us a text, we may read it. If you send us a voicemail, we may play it on the air. But we love to hear from everybody, especially to see everybody from, around the region. We got Columbus, Ohio, Wheeling, West Virginia, and Batavia, Ohio. So Cincinnati, Columbus, and West Virginia all in there. So that's just one episode. Yeah.
Well represented.
All represented. We get Chicago. We had Portland last
we've
week.
Had Portland. We've had a lot of like Northern Ohio cities that come into play with the questions that get submitted. Northern Kentucky's been big. We've had Newport, Villa Hills, Florence area, Erlanger. We've had that. We've had quite a few Tennessee ones that have come in as well too over the past few months. So we appreciate the questions that come in. We try to get to every single one of them that we can. And again, the best way to send them is host@towertopics.com. And then again, that phone number. We'd love to see more voicemails. We've had maybe about 10 since we introduced that, 10 to 12 or so that's been in there, but we'd love to see more of those. And that's 513-399-7538. And if you're going to leave a voicemail, be sure, and as well with the email, be sure to list your first name and your city and state.
Yeah. I'm Ryan, and that's Don, and this is Tower Topics.